I'm so excited. And I just can't wait.
Let's hear for Andy.
I'm holding in my hand right now something that brought anguish, misery, grief, and heartbreak to millions of people. And before I tell you what it is, I'd like you to imagine waking up one morning and finding out that the city that you're living in has suddenly been divided. And you suddenly didn't have access to your favorite stores, or your school, or your work, or even your friends, or your family. And this is exactly what happened in Berlin in 1961. I'm holding a piece of the Berlin Wall. Now, everybody knows the wall isn't standing anymore, but it's a miracle because militarily, if they tried to take it down, it might have caused World War III. But today it doesn't exist. And there's three reasons why. First of all, I would say the involvement of Americans has something to do with it. Second, I would say the citizens of Germany themselves has something to do with it. And third, I would say that political pressure on the East German government also had something to do with it. Okay, so the first thing, let's talk about the United States involvement. America was a superpower back then, still is, but we stood for freedom, and we wanted to show the world that we stood up to the Soviet Union and wanted to keep Berlin a free place to live. President Kennedy, in 1963, he visited Berlin only 2 years after the wall was built, and he made a famous speech.
All free men, wherever they may live, are citizens of Berlin. And therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the word, Ich bin ein Berliner.
And of course, American involvement stayed in Berlin for the entire Cold War. In 1987, obviously, most people know about President Reagan, who also went to Berlin, and he set up in front of the Brandenburg Gate and turned up the volume on his microphones to make sure they could hear it on the other side of the wall. And he spoke directly to Gorbachev, and this is what he said.
Tear down this wall.
Now, another thing that America did to put pressure on the Soviets was to set up a radio station. Radio Berlin was taken over. It was on the eastern side of Berlin, and we broadcasted a lot of propaganda. And in order to counteract that, the Americans set up a radio station called RIAS, which stands for Radio in American Sector. So they counteracted the Soviet propaganda with their own radio. And it was an important thing at the time because radio was a very powerful medium. So next I want to talk about the people of Germany themselves. One way to protest the wall was to actually jump over it or get over it somehow. So a lot of individuals, they actually took their lives in their own hands to protest the wall and get over it. There were ways, some people actually built tunnels under the wall, some hid in cars. They actually took out gas tanks and replaced them with people just to sneak in there. Actually, this is a very famous picture of an East German soldier jumping over barbed wire to escape. And this also is very interesting. This is actual... Well, they did make it across, just so you know. But a lot of people didn't. Matter of fact, 135 documented cases of people getting shot and killed trying to get across the wall. Another way that the East German people protested the wall was in Leipzig, Germany, in 1989. There wasn't really a protest. The protests were completely forbidden. But what happened was Gorbachev came up with some ideas to change Soviet policy, and that included glasnost, excuse me, glasnost and perestroika, and the people supported Gorbachev in that respect. So they were actually allowed to go in the streets and support Gorbachev, even though it was to them a protest. So that's how they got away with actually going to the streets and protesting. Okay, and of course, third is the actual pressure that was put on the East German government. Of course, they were getting pressure from the United States, but in 1989, some of the other satellite republics from the Soviet Union also put pressure on the East German government. First it was Hungary, then it was Czechoslovakia. They both opened up their borders to Austria. And what that meant was a lot of East German citizens went on vacation and went over to Hungary or Czechoslovakia and just never came back because they actually went through Austria and into West Germany. So that was one way to put pressure on the East German government. Okay, next. A lot of people don't know this, but the wall actually came down as an accident. There was a press conference on East German television. This guy here, his name is Günther Schabowski, and he's the official of the Socialist Unity Party in Germany, basically the only party they had. In order to ease the pressure on what was going on in Germany at the time, he was having a press conference to kind of ease, tell the people that they're going to give them more freedoms and things like that. And during the press conference, he was given a piece of paper that he didn't get to see beforehand. And basically it said that they will allow German citizens to start traveling without a visa. And there was an Italian reporter at the time there. And he said, does that mean they'll be able to travel to the West? And, he looked around and he said, yeah, I think so. And then the Italian to the West. And, he looked around and he said, yeah, I think so. And then the Italian reporter, he basically, drum roll please. This is exactly what he said. Oh, no, you have to go back.
Oh, sorry.
Now, okay, click on the press conference. Drum roll. He said, as far as I know, effective immediately without delay, which instantly everybody who saw the broadcast ran out of their houses to the border and tried to get over the border. And since there were so many people, it was so overwhelming that the border guards didn't know what to do, and they couldn't contact their superiors, so they just opened the gate, and that's really how the Berlin Wall came down. So the pressure from the people actually caused the whole thing. And okay, now you can and of course, this is the result of it. So again, without the help of the Americans, the German people themselves protesting, and the pressure put on the German government, who knows, the wall might still be standing today.
Thank you.
So again, without the help of the Americans, the German people themselves protesting, and the pressure put on the German government, who knows, the wall might still be standing today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.